Hello, everyone. Hello, Daisy. Okay. Apparently, no one's here. That's nice. um. How is everyone? On this Sunday. Why is Nightbot not doing? I don't clicked in welcome and it's being slow. Gotcha. Oh, there it goes. It's a little late. There he is. Okay. Give me 1 second. Hey, kill shot. Here he is. All right. You did that backwards, Daisy. Oh, you okay? My bad. I see what you're saying. Okay. Well, let's see. Just gotta wait for a few more people to come in before I start. Here to hear about the troops. Yes, this is a live about the military. It's mixed in with all kind of stuff like NATO, friggin' Russian Ukraine, all kinds of crap. All right, so I guess I'm just gonna start, and then as people come in, we'll just greet them, and if not, they just catch it on replay. But the first article I'm going to share and start reading from is about Biden deploying troops to Eastern Europe. Let me go ahead and share that. Give me 1 second. All right, so the U.S. is planning to reposition 1,000 soldiers based in Germany to Romania and is deploying 2,000 troops based in the U.S. to Poland and Germany. The U.S. is deploying about 3,000 troops to help defend European allies amid the standoff over Russia's military buildup on Ukraine's borders. The Biden administration announced Wednesday about 1,000 U.S. soldiers in Germany will be repositioned to Romania in the coming days to support a similar number of American forces currently in the country. Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby said the additional soldiers are part of a striker infantry unit designed to deploy in short order and to move quickly, he said. This force is designed to deter aggression and enhance our defensive capabilities and frontline allied states, and we expect them, as I said, to move in coming days, Kirby said, adding that Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin discussed the repositioning with his Romanian counterpart last week. The U.S. is also moving an additional force of about 2,000 troops from the U.S. to Europe in the next few days, Kirby said, with most of them going to Poland. That includes troops from the 82nd Airborne Division deploying to that country and the 18th Airborne Corps, establishing a joint task force capable headquarters in Germany. Both are based at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Collectively, this force is trained and equipped for a variety of missions to deter aggression and to reassure and to defend our allies, Kirby said. Um, the moves are not permanent, and the U.S. will readjust its posture as the conditions on the ground evolve, Kirby said. He added that the forces are not going to fight in Ukraine. They are going to maintain the robust defense of our NATO allies. The deployments are separated from the 8,500 troops that Austin placed on heightened alert last month to assist with the defense of NATO allies, Kirby said. France is also deploying forces to Romania under NATO command, Kirby noted. He said the U.S. welcomes the announcements by Spain, Denmark, the United Kingdom, and the Netherlands as they consider the deployment of additional forces to reinforce the alliance. Jeez, I cannot talk. Alliance's eastern flank. A senior administration official emphasized before the Pentagon briefing that President Joe Biden made the decision after a recommendation by Lloyd. At the president's direction and following Secretary Lloyd Austin's recommendation, the Department of Defense will reposition certain Europe based units further east. Forward forward deploy additional U.S. based units to Europe and maintain the heightened state of readiness of response forces to meet these commitments, the official said. CNN was first to report the deployment of additional troops following a briefing Wednesday with Lloyd and Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Capitol Hill about Afghanistan. Several senators weighed in on the deployment to Europe. Bad idea. It's a mistake, Senator Josh Hawley said. Hawley sent a letter to Blinken on Wednesday that said prospective NATO membership for Ukraine would hurt U.S. interests and draw attention away from China. The U.S. should urgently deliver to Ukraine assistance it needs to defend itself against Russia's military buildup and other threats, Hawley wrote. Our interest is not so strong, however, as to justify committing the United States to go to war with Russia over Ukraine's fate. Rather, we must aid Ukraine in a manner that aligns with American interests at stake and preserves our ability to deny Chinese uh, hegemony in the Indo Pacific. Senator Richard Blumenthal said that the U.S. must do more to deter Russian President Vladimir Putin. Hope I said that right. Economic Oh, she's back. Okay. Sanctions should be starting right now, and the military airlift that we have with supplies going there should be heightened and expanded. So I think much more robust and aggression action should be pursued immediately. In response, White House Press Secretary John Pesky suggested Hawley was digesting Russian misinformation and parroting Russian talking points, which she said wouldn't be aligned with long-standing bipartisan American values, which is to stand up for the severity of countries like Ukraine, but others their right to choose their own allies, also to stand against very clearly the efforts or attempts or potential attempts by any country to invade and to take territory of another country. That applies to Senator Hawley, but it also applies to others who may be parroting the talking points of Russian propagandist leaders. Pesky also said the decision to deploy troops was not spurred by new intelligence. I would not read this as a decision made based on any events over the last 48 hours or a couple of days, she said. We've been in discussion and under discussion with our partners and allies in the region where these troops are going for several weeks now. The White House said Wednesday night that Biden spoke earlier in the day with President Emmanuel Macron of France regarding Russia's continued military buildup on Ukraine's borders. The two leaders affirmed their support for Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity and reviewed our ongoing coordination on both diplomacy, and preparations to impose swift and severe economic cost on Russia should it further invade Ukraine. The administration's announcement on troops comes a day after Putin said the U.S. and its allies have ignored Russia's key security demands. His first public comments since December about the crisis. Russia has amassed at least 130,000 troops on Ukraine's border, prompting fears of an invasion. Although Moscow has repeatedly denied planning an attack, Washington and its allies have threatened swift and punishing financial penalties if Russia does invade. Biden had said Friday that he planned to move U.S. troops to Eastern Europe and NATO countries in the near term. The president did not elaborate on the exact timing and did not specify the exact number, saying that it would be not a lot. So just to be sure, this is not anything new. I think this got published in 2022, but I wanted to bring up this article because it's a little bit more information on what they're going to be talking about in the new article that I had found. But this is just kind of like more information and like history, I guess, kind of like on certain things that's going to be in the article that I didn't want y'all to be confused on. So this is just me kind of just telling y'all a few things before we get to the new article that I want to go on. But I have two more articles to go over with you guys before the new one that came out, I think, on the new article came out in June 25th, and then there's also some new articles on NATO that I also want to pull up that is in with this. So let me go and catch up on chat real quick before I pull up the second article. They won't do anything unless we go to war. They're just going there as a presence to Russia. Doesn't try to get stupid. Yeah, that's true. Yes. Really. Hey, Kristen. Yeah, they're just waiting for them to FAFO. Of course. Hey, Sway. Going on a quick drive. Where are you going to, Sway? So this is when war was about to break out. Yes, this was when the war was about to break out. But this is just a few this article is just more information on some of the stuff that they're bringing up in the new article. Like again, I just didn't want you to be confused, so I just kind of brought up articles that's on it, so on the I don't know how to explain it. You ladies are always confused. What you mean? Wait, confused on what? You're Oh gosh. Okay. um. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and share this second one. Give me just a second. And this one is about Russian invasion. Ukraine forces make gains on front line. So, um, sorry, I'm trying to find the beginning of it. And this one was published on August 31st of this year. So, I'm not sure how to say that. Kyiv's forces have made gains on the front line in the southeast of the country, according to the Ukraine military, a rare success as the slow-moving counteroffensive against well-defended Russian troops grinds on. The breakthrough, if it holds, would be a vindication for Ukraine, which has endured growing criticism from some of its closest partners about the way it is managing war. Ukraine soldiers had achieved milestones near several villages, including uh, that one. I'm not sure how to say it. Verbov, both in Russian controlled territory. Military spokesman in Entree said in a Telegram post Wednesday. They were successful. He said they are entrenched at the reached boundaries. Um, COVID did not elaborate on how much ground his country's forces had taken, but video circulated online this week and geolocated by NBC News appeared to show Ukrainian forces fighting near Verbov, a village just over the front line. U.S. defense officials said NBC News that while it's true the Ukrainians had breached Russians' defenses, the advances are more of symbolic value than a big operational development. The breakthroughs are in a very small area, and the Ukrainians have not moved personnel or vehicles through. They said the officials said that of the three lines of Russian defenses, the Ukrainians have pushed through the front line, which is mainly minefields, and that in one place they have punctured the second line, which is the physical barriers like dragon's teeth. They now face the third and toughest line of Russian defenses, which include trenches. Kova's statement came after several open source intelligence analysts said on social media that Ukrainian troops had breached Russian defensive lines in the area. Ukraine has breached the first Russian main defensive line, known as the Surovikin line, in the direction of Verbov. Email wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter, adding that the village was integrated to the Russian defenses. Wow. And then the red part right here is where they attacked. Others posted maps that appeared to show an apparent breakthrough, which was later reported by the Wall Street Journal. The Russian Defense Ministry did not immediately respond to a request for comment. However, Michael, an analyst who is the head of intelligence at Lebac International, a security and risk management consultant, was more cautious. From the footage we've seen coming out of the fighting, it does seem that Ukrainian forces have at least reached one of the main lines of defenses built by Russia under General Surovikin. He wrote an email Thursday referring to the former commander of Russian forces in Ukraine. He added that it was a network of anti tank ditches, mines, and trenches. I haven't seen evidence that Ukrainian forces were able to breach this line so far, but they are certainly trying to punch through, and close enough that we may not yet know if they did, he said. They've been gaining momentum over the past 2 weeks after relatively slow advances initially. So this is certainly an important moment. If Ukraine forces make a breakthrough in this region, it would allow them to split the Russians into two and peg them to the east and west. Phillips O'Brien, a professor of strategic studies at the University of St Andrews in Scotland, said in a telephone interview Thursday. So they would basically be split, not self supporting or mutually supporting, he said. As a result, he said, it would be hard to see how the Russian forces to the west would be able to remain in Ukraine. Everything would have come up through Crimea. The Ukrainians would be closer to Crimea, and it would pose a massive problem for the Russian forces. And at it. However, he cautioned that because Crimea was the natural place for Ukrainian forces to aim at, the Russian forces were expecting them, so they have built a lot of defensive lines. Horowitz agreed that a breakthrough in the region would raise questions as to the viability of the Russian presence in the south, with Ukrainian forces being able to block key roads and railroads, either directly or by regularly targeting them. He said this was the strategy Ukraine employed around the key southern city, of course, in late last year, forcing the increasingly isolated Russian um, contingent in Kherson City and the nearby region to eventually withdraw. If Ukraine was able to break through, it would be a vindication of its strategy after a bad period of criticism about the way it was managing the campaign. The U.S. official told NBC News this month that there was frustration that the Ukraine forces had not used more of the combat power that they have. And reports in the United Kingdom suggested there were rumblings in the British Defense Ministry about the slow pace of the counteroffensive. And a sign of how sensitive Ukraine is to such comments, its foreign minister, uh, Demetrio, said Thursday that critics of Kyiv tactics should shut up. Speaking to reporters after a meeting of the European Union foreign ministers in the Spanish city of Toledo, he said criticizing the slow pace of the counteroffensive was the equivalent of spitting into the face of the Ukraine soldier who sacrifices his life every day. For O'Brien, if the Ukrainian forces did make a breakthrough, it would be a vindication of what they've been doing and why they've been doing it. Um, this war was just to give Ukraine their money back from the money they sent the Bidens into funnel/wash money from ex-high Biden. Ex-high Biden. All speculation on my part. Wouldn't doubt its way at the end of the day. It's all about money, the root of all evil. Think Iran Contra moving a round monkey. What? Okay. All right. So last article before it's the main article that I really wanted to share. So the Pentagon puts 8,500 troops on heightened alert as U.S. weighs military action against Russia. And then this was. Okay, wait. Okay, wait, I actually don't need to. Yeah, okay, never mind. I just completely. Oh, jeez. Okay, so this is the article that got me on the subject that I really wanted to share. And then we'll get on NATO. So the Pentagon officials debate whether to replace extra U.S. troops deployed to Eastern Europe or bring them home. And then this article was published on September 1st on 2023. So Pentagon officials have been debating whether to replace more than 4,000 U.S. troops deployed to Eastern Europe to support NATO countries and deter Russia. With some arguing their presence is no longer necessary, according to three defense officials. In early 2022, the Pentagon began sending additional U.S. troops to NATO allies in Eastern Europe amid concerns that Russia would invade Ukraine. The goals were to deter Russia from invading, to reinforce a U.S. presence in the region, and to shore up allies concerned that Russia's conflict with Ukraine could spill across their borders. Since then, the units have been replaced twice, each time by a headquarters element and a brigade combat team. The Army announced the current deployment approximately 500 soldiers from the 10th Mountain Division headquarters and 3,800 from the 1st uh, Brigade Combat Team, uh, 101 1st Airborne Division on March 7th. Their job has been to ensure that the United States continues to be well positioned to provide a robust deterrent and defensive posture alongside our allies across the European continent, according to the Army statement about the deployment. Those soldiers are expected to return home in early 2024. But as Pentagon officials look at options for which units could assume the mission next, there is a debate about whether to replace them at all. Some Pentagon officials argue that the troop presence has not deterred Russia and is not necessary, and that the troops and funds could be used elsewhere, according to the three defense officials. Other U.S. military officials have argued that the continued presence is important to show support for NATO and allies, and to ensure Russia knows the United States is not turning away from Ukraine, the official said. Now, according to the three officials, uniformed military officials in the Pentagon are recommending to Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin that he send another rotation of troops, while some policy officials are advising that he not replace them when their deployments end. A third option would be for Austin to replace a portion of the 4,300 troops, but not all of them. In a statement Thursday night, Marine Corps Lieutenant Colonial uh, Garen J. Gorn, a Defense Department spokesman, said, "We have no force posture announcements to make today, but our commitment to NATO and our European allies and partners is our plan. We continue to work with our allies and partners to determine the appropriate capabilities necessary to bolster our deterrence and defensive presence along NATO's eastern flank. We will continue to evaluate our posture as conditions evolve, leveraging the flexibility of both forward stationed and deployed forces. And we'll consult closely with NATO allies to ensure an appropriate collective posture of deterrence and defense." So they're still deciding on bringing in more soldiers or just sending them home. Um, I mean, do we really need them there? You know? But then again, it's kind of understandable where they want to show Ukraine that they're not turning their backs on them. Um, hey, Blind. Oh, you like and shared. Thank you. Um, so I also wanted to bring up some NATO uh some NATO articles. So this one is about NATO's response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and this was posted. No, I'm sorry. That's the wrong one. So this article that I ran up is not what I said. It's NATO's military presence in the east of the alliance, which was posted on July 28th of 2023. Um, oh, and it's just so much information on NATO. I honestly do not know what this is. Wait, hold on, wait 1 second. Okay, so we can just go over, like, I guess a little at a time, but I mean, okay, maybe not. Okay, I'm like confusing y'all, confusing myself. Okay, I just brought up a whole bunch of like articles. I just wasn't sure which one to go off of. So, this is NATO's response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, published July 31st of 2023. So NATO condemns in the strongest possible terms Russia's brutal and unprovoked war of aggression against Ukraine, which is an independent, peaceful, and democratic country and a close NATO partner. NATO and allies continue to provide Ukraine with unprecedented levels of support, helping to uphold its fundamental right to self defense. Oh, and then it's like nothing. That's share the wrong one. I think I did. Jeez. Uh, relations with Ukraine. I don't know. Hold on. Thought I had the right. Okay. Uh. Yeah, like Killshot said, we're just posted up on their borders, waiting for them to make a wrong move. Yes, but the last article that I had read about was about Biden and them making a decision on the soldiers that are on the borders, if because they're on deployment, if they should come home or if they should send more out. So, this is just stuff that I thought would be useful, and it's not. So, there has been talk about a draft. There has. I did research on those, on this topic, and like I couldn't find anything related to a draft. That's crazy. I wonder if there's thing on it. I mean, there is a little bit. Wow. Okay. So, oh, this is like a whole PDF. I'm not. So, as of today, men are required to register with the Selective Service System within 30 days of their 18th birthday through the U.S.'s website or at a U.S. post offices or diplomatic offices. The United States of America is protected by our all volunteer military. There is no conscription at this time. Wow. My son won't be in that draft. He's an only child, but it's sad for so many others. Oh, they're talking about it. If we keep sending people there, I guess that's up to us if things go down there. Not a war, but if, let's say, they hit us where it hurts, our power grid goes down, it'll be chaotic. Chaotic as hell, just saying. Oh, it would definitely be chaotic. That means my brother would have to be drafted. Well, yeah, all three of my brothers. Well, my youngest one, he'll like have to wait until he's 18. But my other two brothers will definitely be drafted. Nothing's going to happen. This is just posturing. I mean, it could happen though. But they're just in the midst right now of talking about like the troops should come home, or if they should be deployed longer. You know, it's just sad 'cause I think the troops should come home to their families because they're deployed for like years sometimes. World War II will not be a conventional war. It's going to be a war of nutrition. Oh, what do you mean by that? I feel like something's gonna happen. Just can't figure it out just yet. Oh, World War Three. My bad. I didn't see that third one. I'll assume it was just two. It looked like it was two. Um, just can't figure it out just yet. I mean, who knows? I mean, nobody really knows anything. I mean, this has been going on since last year. But NATO's, I mean, I don't think they do anything with, with a NATO country. I don't think so. I mean, NATO does have 40,000 troops in Eastern Europe right now. Mm. Wow. Okay. Um. This is crazy. I hope nothing happens. But then again, if it's going to, I wish it would just happen already. I hate the wondering and what ifs. I know, because we're all just basically sitting here waiting ducks. Thank you for talking about this, though. I mean, you're welcome. I mean, I thought it was a good thing to bring to everyone's attention about the soldiers being out there. You control the food, you control the people. Oh, that's true. She wants to explain a text. Okay, so do you want to come up on panel? I guess I really do need to start stocking up on MREs and other non-perishable foods. Yeah, probably. I get a good shot, just stuff I don't like to think about. I mean, it's probably stuff you need to start thinking about. And this is stuff I normally didn't think about either. And then it's like it's everywhere now. Ukraine and like Russian and so it's all kind of stuff. Yeah, we all do. Sadly. I mean, NATO hasn't really said anything. Oh. I mean, it's so much stuff. You gotta figure America spent the last 20 years spending money on and fighting terrorism. What has China spent their money on during this time? That's a good question. What the hell has China been spending their money on all this time? Building up their military? I mean, that's a good question, but I don't think it would be their military. Drop link. Give me 1 second. There you go. This is a good question. I mean, what has China been spending their money on? Hey, Killshot.
Hey, what's up?
How are you?
I'm doing good. What are you guys up to tonight?
Nothing much. Just chilling, and then I was doing research on what to do my live on tonight, and then I saw that article about the troops, and then I was like, huh, well, this is a good thing to bring up.
Yeah, they'll probably end up pulling those troops home and then just replenishing them.
Really? You think so?
Yeah. Yeah, because all we're doing is we're posturing all along the Ukrainian border so that Russia can't take over any of those Baltic Sea countries. Because countries like Poland and a few of the other ones over there, my mind just went blank. They all have very small militaries. They're very little countries. So if Russia ever decides to say, fuck it, we don't want to fight Ukraine anymore, we're going to take over the Baltic Sea area, then, the Americans and the rest of NATO are there to say, no, the fuck you're not. You stay over there in Ukraine. And that's all that we're doing. And they're going to continue to do that over the next year or so. They're going to just continue to bulk up the military. But right now, all they're trying to do is they're doing is putting a scare in everybody, with the draft and all this other nonsense. They're not, we're not going to go to war. Like I said before, World War III is not going to be your conventional war. It's not going to be fought on the ground. It's not going to be fought in the air. It's going to be a technology war and a war for nutrition. Because like I was saying, the U.S. and several other countries have been spending the last 20 years or more fighting terrorism and sending our people over there, or wasting our money over there and doing all that fun jazz. And what has China and Russia and all these other countries been spending their money on? Well, China has been going through and have been buying up all the war-torn countries. So they're going into Africa and buying up lithium mines, buying up platinum mines, buying up all these raw rare material mines, and taking ownership in them, which at the end of the day, just like Sway was kind of saying with the food, it's kind of something similar to the food thing, but it's more of the raw materials, because we need those raw materials to make computer chips. We need those raw materials to make batteries. We need those raw materials to conduct electricity. We need those raw materials. And it's the same as soon as we pulled out of Iraq, guess who swooped right in to start helping? China did. So that they could come in and they could start helping with rebuilding the countries, and then they look like the good guys and start gaining faith in these war-torn countries that the U.S. has just walked out of. So all China's been doing is following behind the U.S. for the last 30, 40 years, picking up all the pieces of all the fights that we've been in and investing. It's the same as, like, if you look at a lot of the one of the number one things that Chinese are doing right now to fight the U.S. market, or to compete in the U.S. market, is they're sending like their kids to the United States on school visas to learn how to be lawyers and learn how to work the financial system, like they
Mm-hmm.
do in the United States. And then those people don't stay in the United States to work in the United States. They go back home and they run the larger companies over there, like the companies in the United States does. So all they're doing is, for the last, let's say, 30 years, is they just been undermining the United States, and the United States hasn't been paying attention, and we're going to get caught with our pants down when it comes to that's what World War III is going to be, is the
Wow.
fight for all these other countries that have all the raw materials and natural resources that we need.
But that's like scary though, because wouldn't we be losing a lot
We'd be
if that
losing
were to
that battle. Yes, we'd be losing that battle for sure.
The only way we win that battle is we have to actually physical war.
That's like, yes, just like they're talking about with BRICS, which he added another 7 countries to that. That's very true. You know, that's going to be one of our the BRICS is kind of like NATO. So it's basically all the countries that don't want to participate in NATO because they don't like all those countries. They go to BRICS, and right now, I mean, I'm trying to remember. I know it's Russia, Iran. I'm trying to remember the
in
fucking
NATO?
names. And no, and BRICS, because the BRICS actually stand for the countries' names. It's Russia, Iran, China,
Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil. And it's weird as shit because Brazil fucking hates communism.
Wow. So like Daisy
all that China
commented, but with us having NATO countries, how would we lose?
Because most of the NATO countries do not have the natural resources that we need. Most of the natural resources are found in all the third world countries, i.e. Iraq, Iran, Saudi Arabia. That's what the S was. Saudi Arabia has the number one oil.
So that's why like our like everything's been going up like price wise here is because of all of that.
Yeah, because now what China's threatening to do is to make the yen the world's currency. Right now, the dollar is the world's currency, because Saudi Arabia only accepts the dollar bill for oil. And with America and Biden and whatnot pissing off Saudi Arabia, they're starting to become extremely close friends because Saudi Arabia has the highest amount of oil reserves in the world. So they're the ones that pretty much run the oil industry in general.
Yeah.
That's why it's such a rich country. But so what they're doing is China is becoming really good friends, obviously through the BRICS and all that other shit. And if Saudi Arabia decides to take the yen for the currency of oil instead of the dollar is going to crash, and the world currency will no longer be the dollar, so the dollar won't really mean shit.
Oh my god! And then there's no telling what's going to happen after that if our money's not even worth anything.
It's going to be is roles reverse. The United States is going to become a third world country because of the fucking shit we've done over the last 50 years, starting all these wars and all these fights. For basically all we've been doing is being big ass bullies.
Oh gosh.
That's why all the fucking foreign countries, a lot of them fucking hate us.
So we basically just like fucked it up with all the countries that like we basically need for like oil and everything.
Yeah, because like China's gone into Africa and started building a lot of the infrastructure there, i.e. roads, cities, highways, and all that other shit. And Africa has to pay them back whatever it costs to build all that stuff. So if Africa can't pay them back, and there's many countries in Africa, it's not just one. That's why I say Africa in general.
Yeah.
But if the countries in Africa can't pay them back, well, then China now becomes essentially owners of that country because they owe them so much money, they can't get out from underneath it. And those countries basically like become China's bitch.
Wow.
And that's all that China's doing is they're traveling all over the world and taking everything that we've fucked up, and they're picking up our scraps.
Whoa. Blonde said that China owns America already.
Oh yeah, debt wise, yeah, they already do. But I mean, the thing with Africa and the difference between those countries and these third world countries and the United States is China can't come in and just fucking bomb the shit out of us to get their money back. Where in Africa they don't have militaries, and they don't have massive military funds to produce weapons like China does. So with some of those third world countries, China can just go in and be like, okay, well, if you're not going to pay us back and you're going to be dickheads, then we're just going to come over here and bomb the shit out of you guys. And the U.S. can't do anything about it because they're not part of NATO.
Wow.
And they're not going to come over here and do that to the United States because we're one of the leading world powers in the military.
That's kind of scary. I mean,
no, military strength wise, we are the baddest in the fucking world. Period. There's no debating that. Military strength, we will fuck everybody up 100 times over again. But that's the thing, is that this war isn't going to be fought with physically. Right. This war is not going to be fought by the military.
Wow. So basically, if we can't use our military, we're just fucked.
For the most part. I mean, yeah, because they can stop. You got to figure, think about all the stuff that you see that says made in China.
Basically, everything we have is made in China.
Right. That's what I'm saying, is all that stuff will go away. And that's just the stuff that's made in China. Now, how many of our corporations and businesses and everything like that are over in China and other countries? And if those countries decide to cut us off from everything, well, now those businesses are lost. And now we lost all that production and everything over there. So that's another leg of things that the United States is going to lose. And then if they decide to cut off all of our natural resources like oil and all these, like I was saying before, titanium and all this other stuff, gold, diamonds, all this other shit that we need that we use in everyday life for a lot of our electronics and stuff like that. If China gets a hold of all these countries, then they can cut off the supply to all that stuff too. And then we lose everything, and that's where our infrastructure will just start to begin to collapse.
Wow, it's crazy. Because if we're in that much debt to China, why do they keep trading, or we keep getting all this stuff from China?
Because why not? China can continue to put us farther and farther in debt. So that means they just own more and more and more. So it's just a good business move on China's part. Yeah, go ahead, let them keep borrowing money or, not paying us what they owe us and whatnot. And that's why Trump was so effective in office, is because he taxed the living shit out of China, which started bringing our debt to them way down.
Oh, wow. So that was smart on his part.
Yeah. And that's what, kind of right now, that's why America leans towards these people that aren't bought and owned, because of the fact that they'll look at what America actually needs, not what the politicians want. And, they're stubborn for that. And, Trump is a businessman. And right now, essentially, that's what the world is doing is just who's got the better business.
So basically, Biden is fucking us over with him being in office.
Yeah, he's been fucking us over since day one.
There's no doubt about that.
60 years.
Jeez. And then there's no telling if Trump's gonna be able to reelect when it comes to election.
Yep. I mean, and that's the thing where, people like Blind and whatnot all, fight for a lot of our rights and stuff, because our rights are all we have left in this country to justify or to use to lead our country back into a proper standing. Because, I mean, I don't know who it was. There's a old video clip of some actor. I can't remember his name. He played on Dumb and Dumber. It wasn't Jim Carrey. It was the other guy.
I don't know his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he did a short little clip where he was sitting on the stage at a school, and one of the students said, "Why is America the greatest country in the world?" And then he just goes on a fucking rant talking about how America is not the greatest country in the world. Like, if anything, we're amongst one of the worst countries in the world.
I mean, we are.
Well, it is. It's very true. People talk about how, like, America has freedom, and it's like, okay, well, almost everywhere in the world has freedom. I mean,
yeah,
the freedom isn't only an American thing anymore. And that was one of our biggest cries and one of our biggest things. We have our education system sucks. Our kids, in America, they took a poll on what kids want to be when they grow up. Like this day, like the kids that are like right now in 2023, they took a poll, and kids, there's more population of children that want to become famous TikTokers or YouTubers than doctors or firefighters or anything like that. When you go and look at Chinese and you look at when you go and look at China, or you look at Russia, or you look at some of even the European countries,
mm-hmm.
At the top of them are like rocket scientists, fucking doctors, pediatricians, and our kids want to be TikTokers and YouTubers.
So we're basically fucked for the future for our kids.
Yeah, but our country's made it that way. They want us to be this way. They want us to be pod people. They don't want us to do anything. They don't want us to be anything. They don't want us to realize that, we as human beings and as people and as individuals can achieve anything. We really can if we all work together. But that's why there's an active agenda that's been going on for God knows how long, probably for as far back as you can ever remember, because I'm sure it happened all the way back into the Greek times and whatnot, when you knew that you have to rule by fear. Fear is the only thing that everybody obviously obeys. So
the whole, like Blonde says in this comment, is like the whole thing is making us do what they want and believing it to be our own ideas, our masses, or the truth, or it's a power.
Correct. 100% correct. And like that's why even with technology these days, like I fought to like try to make sure my daughter was not one of these technology nerds, and because there's nothing wrong with it. There's really not.
Yeah.
This world's going in that direction. So to be able to really achieve and succeed in this world, like you kind of have to become technology savvy. And so like I fought and I fought and I fought. Like I didn't give her a cell phone. I didn't feel like, or I didn't give her, like she had a tablet, but she was only allowed to have like a couple games on her tablet. Like I didn't let her just have a free for all on everything.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden she gets into like second grade, and now they have these MacBooks, and then they have like most of their homework's done on the computer, and off their little laptop that they get every year, or Chromebook. Sorry, not a MacBook.
Yeah.
But so, and then all their like schoolwork is done off the computer, and like report cards are on the computer, and all their like, even if they need to do homework with their friends or whatnot, they have to be on the computer. And then to talk to their friends about projects and whatnot, they have to be on their phones. And it's like the world's not what it used to be back in the day, to where we can't really fight technology and stop it, or stop our children from doing it, because actually you're going to hinder your kids from being able to succeed in the way that this world's going. But at the same time, you want to make sure you teach your kids the real values. And like my daughter will sit here for 8 hours in a day and play on her phone. And it's like, no, put that fucking thing down. Let's go outside. I don't care if we go for a walk or whatever. Put that fucking thing down for 5 minutes. Like, but if I let her, she would just sit there and be on her phone the whole and fucking entire time. And I remember when I was really sick one weekend, and she was at my house, and like she just chilled in her room the whole time and watched TV and played it on her phone. Now, when she's at her mother's house, she also has 3 siblings, her stepmom or her stepdad, her mom, 2 dogs. It's a fucking chaos nightmare over there. So when she comes over here, it's her kind of like peace time and relaxation time, and kind of like decompress a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of leave her be, but to a certain extent. But if I let her, she would just sit there and dive into the technology, and that's exactly what they want us to do. That's why you can order groceries from home. You can order food from home. You can order anything you want off of Amazon from home, and you don't have to go anywhere to do anything. It'll all be delivered to your door.
Yeah, but it's not just kids on their phones 8 hours a day straight. It's
adults.
Also adults too. Like everyone is on their phone.
I'm on my phone just as much, if not more than 8 hours a day, and that's not a joke. I totally agree with that, and that's why I say is like, even for us as an adults, we can't just not have technology. It's hard to not have a phone. And then think about how we are now. Like when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I grab my phone. I see if I have any missed calls or missed messages, or if, what's going on YouTube, or what's, so on and so forth. That's the very first fucking thing I do every single morning.
I mean, if you think about it, your phone, you use your phone for everything now. They do it to where you use your phone for everything, even for your money, like for your bank, to see how much you have in your account, or to talk to people on a daily basis, like for work or for family. I mean, everything is technology.
And that's exactly, that's exactly the thing right there, is like, we're plugged in all the time, and that's why for me specifically, and this is not for anybody else in the world. This is just what I figured out for myself, is that when I'm on technology for too long, whether it's the TV, whether it's computer, whether it's playing video games, whether it's on my phone, looking at Facebook or YouTube or whatever, I start to feel like total shit, and I just have to unplug. I have to fucking put my phone down, and I have to go out and I have to like do stuff, and I have to just like decompress from everything that's going on in the world of technology, because it overwhelms me a lot. With technology, you don't have any sort of privacy anymore. Like anybody can reach out to you at any time. They can see if you're looking at their messages or if they're not. If you look at their messages and you don't reply, then they get mad. And then, you know, and if you do reply and you just wake up and now all of a sudden you're awake and like it just, there's no sense of privacy. Plus every little keystroke and every little thing you do on your phone or on your computer or on anything that's technology related, really, it's tracked and it's watched and it's, you know, they use it against you, you know, just like they watch to see what you're buying, you know, like they watch to see what you're watching. They watch, you know, they pay attention to all that stuff.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, you can look up one time something on your phone and you could be scrolling on Facebook on your newsfeed and there's an ad for what you searched for that one time like 2 days ago.
Yep. But then all of a sudden your news feed will be just full of that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's
Common Core doesn't take away critical thinking. It just has certain standards to teach and for students to learn, etc.
Yeah, and you know, like my sister's a teacher and she's been teaching for almost 30 years now. And she started out teaching special ed and whatnot, and me and her, we don't have a lot of arguments, but we have a lot of deep conversations on the school systems and the educational system and stuff like that, because she's obviously, you know, like gung-ho proud of the school systems and, you know, believes in what she's teaching and the things that, you know, is being taught and how it's being taught. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not saying that our kids are being taught the wrong way or whatnot, but, you know, like when my third grader comes, and she's not in third grade anymore, but when she was in third grade and she would come home and I could not help her with her homework because I had no fucking clue what was going on. You know, there's a little bit of a problem there to where it's like, okay, I mean, there's everything's, I don't know how to explain this properly, because when I explain it to my sister, I just explain it blunt and it comes out a lot easier. But, you know, there's no way for us parents to help our kids at home. You know, like, you know, math. Let's just use math as an example. You know, Common Core math. I have no fucking clue how to do Common Core math.
I mean, I know
I'm a grown ass adult.
I mean, I know how to do some of it because, I mean, there's new Common Core shit that's coming out every year. And what I was learning in, like, I don't know, like freaking middle school, like kids are learning it in freaking elementary and stuff now, like X and Y and stuff like that. And I'm like, I didn't even do this till I was like higher up in my grade, and they're doing it and they're not even that much older.
Yep, and that's very true. And the part that I don't know, it bothers me on the curriculums that are being taught, but you know, it doesn't bother, like I can't put that on any of the teachers because they don't necessarily decide the curriculums that are always being taught or anything like that. But it's just, you know, when I went to ask for help, you know, with my parents were able to help me with my homework because all of it was like the way everything was taught to them was the way that it was being taught to me. Now, I mean, granted, I'm 40 years old, so I've been out of high school for a little while now, and things have definitely changed a lot, but still, it's like, I mean, when a 40-year-old don't know how to do third grade math, like I really start to question things. I'm like, okay, am I autistic? Am I, you know, do I have one of the isms? Like, you know, do I have autism or do I have what do I got? Like, and I know that shit makes you smarter and all this other stuff. It's just trying to lighten the subject. But, no, it's just when you have a hard time, you're just like, okay, what the fuck are you teaching our children? Like, what is this? You know, when I got it. when 2 plus 2 equals 4 still, but you got to go through 17 steps to get there, it's just like, okay, what? Like, I literally would teach my daughter, like, look at, you got 2 fingers on this hand. Now add 2 more fingers to it. How many you got? And she's like, yeah, but how do I show that in steps? I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? How do I show that in steps?
I mean, they're adding like bigger numbers in math now than like
Oh, they are for sure.
in elementary. I mean, it's crazy. And I mean, and even the teachers themselves are even learning new stuff because they have workshops they have to go to like in the summer before school
Yep.
starts to learn like all the new stuff that they're teaching the kids. And
Yep.
it's
My sister does. My sister does all that shit. And like, yeah, and you're 100% correct. They are continuing their education all the time, which that makes sense, you know, but you know, it like the hardest part for me is if you're going to fucking send children home with homework, God damn it, let us be able to fucking help them. Like, you know, honestly, that's the thing. And again, has nothing to do with the children or with the teachers or anything like that. It's just the curriculums and whatnot. But just, you know, sometimes it's just like, if I can't help my she's now in 7th grade, but you know, if I can't help my daughter out with schoolwork, A, that's not going to be, well, yeah, especially for homework, you know, but A, that's not going to be good for her because I'm not going to be able to help her. And then B, she's going to look at her dad like he's retarded because he don't know how to do 7th grade schoolwork.
Yeah. I mean, if only they knew that, like, from what math used to be to like what it is now, it's, I mean, I barely understood it when I was in fucking high school.
I didn't understand it when I was in high school. I was a jock in high school. I had a lot of my grades given to me, so I didn't. I was simply special until I got into the military, and they taught me how to fucking be a normal human being. Before that, I was just this dumb jock that ran around licking windows the whole time.
You're licking windows, Killshot?
Not literally. Just being a dumb jock, running around doing dumb shit. I was a wrestler, so I'd come into class and be like, "Oh yeah, I got to go cut weight," and then I'd just leave, and the teacher would give me a grade. So it was just back then. It was it was a little different, but you know that's where you know, our kids nowadays, though, like they can't even enjoy. That's sad to say, but they can't even enjoy being stupid in school. You know, I mean, and what I mean by that is just doing all the dumb things that you did when you're in high school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can't enjoy all that stuff because it's like they're fucking teaching how to be a rocket scientist.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, like, for example, like you said, like, you know, with you being in sports and stuff, you could get away with a lot of stuff. Now they don't give a shit if you're in sports. Now you gotta sit there and balance sports and your grades because they're not gonna give it to you.
Yep. And that's, you know, they have standardized tests that they have to take, and you know, you have to get a certain percentage score, like, and I mean, there's all sorts of stuff, and I completely and totally understand. It is, you know, it is for our children to be able to exist in this society once they get out of school. But, you know, I've been saying it for years now is, look at, they've taken out all of our trades out of all of our schools. You know, like schools around here, they've taken out wood class, they've taken out metals, you know, they've taken out CAD classes. Like they've taken out a lot of trade classes in high school and whatnot, and they're replacing them with just more information. Like they have a technology class now.
Yeah.
We never had that kind of stuff. Like, I mean, again, when I was in school, computers and stuff were just coming out. So it wasn't like we had the top of the line shit. We played Oregon Trail when I was in school. That was like,
I mean, that's true because I mean, when I was in high school, I had in middle school and in high school, I had a technology class where we were required to take the computer class to learn. I mean, like you were learning like how to type fast and like how to make PowerPoints and like all kind of computer stuff. Like they would teach you, and like it was required. Like you couldn't.
Yep, we had that, but now like my daughter has to learn how to they're learning how to use CapCut. They're learning like do digital art. They're learning how to make music using technology, using like mixer boards and stuff on the computers at school. And
Really?
like, yeah, and and these are things that they're like classes that they have to take, you know.
I did not know that. We never learned that kind of
Well,
like technology stuff.
yeah, that's some of the things that they're starting to teach now, and it's just like, okay, well, what? You know, I'm 40 years old and I barely know how to. A CapCut I have no idea how to use. You know, Sway uses CapCut, and I used Canva all the time, but it fucking took me a month to figure that shit out. You know, obviously by myself. If I had a teacher or something, it would have been different. But yeah, I don't know. And she was doing this stuff in like, well, it would have been last year, so 6th grade, and yeah, one of her little friends always sends her these little um, clips and stuff that she makes and whatnot from CapCut, and yeah, it's really crazy on how, you know, like, oh, and well, and yeah, Blind said here, I don't care, I'm not caring about Texas history, but I'm talking about history in general too. Like, all the history that we once knew is fucking changed, like everything. You know, I mean, think about what we were taught about Christopher Columbus, you know, and all this other shit that just isn't true.
Yeah, I mean, I know the Christopher Columbus story since like all my years of school, and then like I get out of school, and I think it was like maybe a few months ago that like I actually learned like the real story about it, and I was like, what?
Yeah, it's not even close to being what we were taught.
Yeah, like nowhere's like close to it at all, and I was like, that's a lie. Like you're lying. Like that's not true. And I'm like, what? Like that's nowhere near the story we were taught during my whole years of school. Like nowhere's near it. Far from it.
No, Blind, quit pissing people off.
Yeah, that's why I'm like zoning in and out of the conversation. So I'm trying to catch up on chat right here about what's going on, but I have no idea.
Blind, he's fine.
Oh god. PG said she's leaving. She's
Yeah,
getting really upset.
they're just disagreeing on the curriculum for schools, which that's, you know, people get passionate about it because it's about our children, you know, and that's this kind of conversation right here is what I have with my older sister all the time. Like it does it. People get passionate about these things, you know, because it is an important topic. And Blind, don't take off. That's different. That's completely opposite of anything we do. We talk through things. We don't just get pissed and leave. But you know, and that's where this topic is, you know, of the school systems is a real sensitive topic, and the topic changes from state to state to state to state. You know, what we do in Michigan isn't the same as what they do in New Hampshire, and isn't the same as what they do in Vermont or Texas or Louisiana or California or anything. Like, it's all different.
Yeah.
PJ, you're fine. Why are you guys leaving?
I don't know.
Yeah, we're doing game time over in Daisy's. Isn't that supposed to be happening already?
Shoot. I didn't even.
What time did you schedule that for, Daisy? I saw the thing come through, but I didn't pay attention to the time.
I'm just waiting for you. Let me see. Let me go on her page. I don't know if she's still in chat or not. Oh, she's in the background. She answered. She said she's waiting on me to end the live.
Oh, okay. Well, I can get off panel because I talk a lot.
Yeah, no, you're good. But I really do appreciate you jumping up on here, though.
Yeah, not a problem. Maybe the game will lighten everybody up a little bit.
yeah, hopefully. I really do hope so. But I think Daisy had hers for 7.
Yeah.
Oh, for 9:45. What
Also,
time is it?
10:50 or 9:55.
9:55. Okay. Well then, I'm gonna go ahead and end the live because I see things getting a little heated and
Yeah, it's you guys. It's really not that big of a deal. So just calm down. It's a sensitive subject for everybody in the world. It's not like you two are the only ones with different opinions. Everybody has them. Again, me and my older sister, we fight and argue about this all the time, but we're still family. You know, we still talk and we work our way through it. And at the end of the day, we agree to disagree.
Exactly.
We don't just say, "Oh,
that's why it's an
I'm
opinion. I mean, your opinion can't be right or wrong. It's just what you personally think, and nobody can tell you what your opinion is right or wrong. So that's why
right."
it's, agree to disagree and just put it aside.
I mean, my opinion is always right. Your guys's, I mean, could be wrong, but mine, though, I mean, I'm never wrong. So,
Daisy, you hear that?
Yeah, I hear that crap. Tell them to come try to win.
she already knows. What do you mean that do you hear that? She already knows. Ask her how many times I've been wrong.
Daisy, how many times has he been wrong?
All the time.
She said all the time.
She is such a lie. I'm never believing anything she says again because I know she's lying right now.
I'm just kidding.
Oh man.
All right.
She said for you to go in her live and try to win.
She is lying straight up live on internet right now. And once it goes on the internet, it never comes off.
I'm just kidding. Calm down.
Don't tell me what to do. I'm a grown little man. I do what I want.
He said he's a grown little man.
All right, start up your live.
I am.
All right. Well, thank you once again, Blonde. I mean, Blonde. Gee, that's because we were just.
Oh, shit. Look who's on her mind tonight. Look who's on her mind tonight.
That's because we were talking about.
Yep. And and Daisy was calling blind kill shot, and then you were calling blind kill shot. Like, you guys can't get names right. I swear to God. I mean, they're not even close to the same either. They don't start with the same letters. They don't like nothing. They're completely fucking different, and you guys still fuck it up.
Shut your mouth.
I believe you, Kill Shot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Okay, Kill Shot. I appreciate you coming in my live to talk about my topic and more and for making us laugh. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well,
what you're gonna say?
I said, well, that's what I do.
Well, I'm gonna
I
go
piss
ahead
people off and then I make them laugh.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen you piss anybody off. I mean, at least that I know of.
I was gonna say, ask your cousin over there. I piss people off all the time. I just haven't pissed you off yet.
Yeah, that's what she just said in the background.
Yeah, trust me. I'll get there.
I don't put it past you.
Yep. I'm good at that. I was born an asshole. I just got a little bigger.
I could be an asshole too.
Okay, y'all come over to my live.
Okay, all right. Daisy's
Tell me what to do, you needy ass. God damn. All right, we'll see you later.
All right. So thank you to Killshot once again. Thank you to everyone who came in. Thank you to my mods and for my chats. And I appreciate just everyone. And I love you guys, and I hope you guys have a great night. And I will see you guys in Daisy's live.